Okay.
Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
Yeah, I forgot I had my headphones plugged in from
Uh,
earlier. I'm sorry. You were like,
uh, all right. So we're live on Facebook and about to go live on air in a few moments.
okay.
Uh, Good morning to everyone that's out there. As you can see, my special guest is Mrs. Emma Agnew from the Craighead County um, chapter of NAACP. She's the president, and it's first Monday. First Mondays of the month are for NAACP. And we will be talking about quite a few things today. So I'm not going to get into it right now because I want to wait till we go on air so everybody can get in on this conversation.
Mm.
Um, but I hope that you're ready to take notes and um, take down some numbers and email addresses or whatever the case may be so you can make some contact. But we just want to keep everyone informed on what's happening on the state and local level. So give us a few moments and we'll get started here on air. And so I'm sure there's gonna be quite a few comments. Oops, sorry. My volume down. All right. So we have about 30 seconds before we go on air. So if anyone has any questions or comments, drop them in our Facebook Live feed, and we will try to get to them as time allows. Just want to say happy Monday, happy Black History Month. It's Valentine's month, um, and all that. But most importantly, it's my birthday month. So,
Well, happy birthday month.
okay.
And may I say you're looking lovely in that pink this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Quila Jones. Happy Monday. Happy Black History Month. Today is the first Monday of the month, and that means it is NAACP's Day. So, welcome, Mrs. Emma Agnew, the president of the Craighead County chapter of the NAACP. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing fabulous, Fabila. Thank you so much for having me. And hello, everyone. Good morning. It's still a little early for me, but I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, since you've been retired, you don't have to get up in the wee hours of the morning to.
Yeah, and trust me, I do not.
All right, so let's go ahead and get down to business. There are several items we need to discuss. There are some things happening on the state and the local level. First, I want to say good morning to Miss Linda Johnson Frazier. Good morning, beautiful ladies. It's the beginning of our history. And yes, ma'am. All
Yeah.
right, so
And I
what
still
what do you
owe
want to
you
start?
an email, Miss Frazier. I apologize. I thought about you last week and I'll get it to you today. Email
I'll
out.
stay on her.
Yes. Stay on me, please.
All right, so let's start with the state level. What's happening and what do people need to know?
Oh gosh. I don't know what has happened at the state level. The big thing right now, of course, is the Stand Your Ground bill. This is Senate Bill 24. That's actually already passed through the Senate. They passed it through the full Senate. It went to the Judiciary Committee one day, and then the next 2 days it was at the full Senate. And of course, it passed, I think, 27 to something ridiculous. Um, and so it has passed the Senate, and it is now going to the House Judiciary Committee on tomorrow, February the 2nd, where they will vote whether or not to pass it to the full House for a vote. And if it gets to the full House for a vote, it will pass because the House is it's not nearly equally divided. I forget the figures, but it's 20 something Republican for like 11, 10, 11 Democrats in the House. So
Okay.
it will pass the House. So our best opportunity to stop that from passing is to put our forces together and try to stop it in the House tomorrow. The House will be the easiest to stop it in. We only need to turn 2 votes to get it stopped in the House. That's a lot easier than trying to turn 10 or 12, I tell you. So if we can get 2 Republican Senate representatives, I'm sorry, to vote with the Democrat Senate House, I want to keep saying senators for some reason, then we can stop it in the Judiciary Committee. So that's what we need to be trying to do to stop it at that committee meeting level tomorrow. And I don't know if do you want to go ahead and get into what Stand Your Ground bill is?
Yes, I have it pulled up, and you can go to arcleg.state.ar.us, and I'll put the link in the Facebook feed so anyone who wants to find the link directly to this bill. And again, it's Senate Bill 24 or SB 24, and it's for an act to be entitled an act concerning the defense of a person with the use of physical force or deadly physical force and for other purposes. And so, of course, there are sections and subsections within the bill. So I would really suggest that you all go through and read each line and see what it says. We should be familiar with this bill because other states have it in place, and it is shown to be quite detrimental. Um, the one of the most famous cases was when Trayvon Martin was shot and killed,
Mhm.
and that was the defense the perpetrator used in his case. And then there have been other stories out of Florida, many that I've seen personally, and I've even watched a video of a situation. A man and his girlfriend or wife, whoever, were at a store. She parked in a handicap spot. A man that pulled up decided he wanted to take matters in his own hand and confront her. Well, as the man was the husband, whoever he was coming out of the store with his child, mind you, got into you could see that it was a verbal altercation at first. And
Right.
so the black man pushed other man out of the way, like, go, you know how you kind of push somebody off of you, like get away, go away, whatever. The um the white man turned around and shot this black man in front of his whole family, and he ended up dying. So, and he tried to use the stand your ground as a defense in his case. So, but there are many other stories similar to that. So we've seen what can happen. And when this
Right.
bill first came around, there was a representative out of Pine Bluff who made a very passionate
Mhm.
speech against it,
Mhm.
and so did many others. So, Ms. Emma,
Mhm.
what is your take, or what do you want to share with the listeners and viewers about this bill and what it could mean for Arkansas?
Uh, well, this bill came up 2 years ago, and we were actually able to defeat it in the Senate because we had, enough prior notice that it was coming up in the Senate. So it was defeated in the Senate Judiciary Committee. And the viral video of that session was actually Senator Flowers, is who you're speaking of. Stephanie Flowers uh, is the representative who spoke so passionately about it not passing. But we had some bipartisan support a couple of years ago uh, with that bill. And so it's back now. And I'm just not understanding why our conservative representatives are so insistent on passing a stand your ground bill. They vowed when it was defeated a couple of years ago that it would be back, that it would be back on the agenda this year, and it It is. But basically, what Stand Your Ground does is it allows a person not to retreat, even if they can safely retreat. So if you and I are having an altercation and you threaten me, you tell me, if you don't get your behind on away from here, back up, leave me alone, I'm going to shoot you. And I have the opportunity to back up and leave you alone. But what this is saying is, I don't have to back up. I can pull my gun out and shoot you first. Or it doesn't even have to be that clear that I'm being threatened. It can just be that your appearance frightens me. I see you and your appearance frightens me. Uh, I don't know why, maybe because of the color of your skin, the way you're wearing your hair, the way you walk, the way you're looking, or whatever, but your appearance frightens me. So instead of me just leaving because I'm frightened by you, um, I can shoot you. I can use deadly force, uh, even if you're not threatened by me. All I have to do is say, um, I feared for my life. I feared threatened. I thought she was going to do something. She looked like somebody else. I thought she was somebody else. Whatever. But the stand your ground defense will let you cover that. And so um, what will happen if it passes in Arkansas is the same thing that will happen that has been happening in other states. The homicide rates are going to go up, and they are going to disproportionately go up for Black people, people of color, as opposed to white people. So that's what's going to happen. And right now, there are some states that have stand your ground that are actually trying to repeal it. They have decided that it is not a good thing to have, as opponents tried to say earlier. And so they're trying to appeal it. But it is a very scary notion. And it's an awful bill that allows you rather than leave to kill somebody. So it's
No,
it's like the Wild Wild West or something. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
want to I want to point out in section 2, people need to read the wording because wording matters, and so it leaves room for interpretation. It says, and this is under section 2 of this bill, A, and it's described as use of deadly force in defense of a person. A person is justified in using deadly force upon another person if the person reasonably believes that the other person is one committing or about to commit. So that's the part that's that tricky part about to. How can one person who's not, I understand in the heat of a moment, your emotions are running high. You don't, but here's the thing, you don't know always know what's about to happen. So it says about to commit a felony involving physical force or violence, using or you about to use unlawful deadly physical force, or imminently endangering the person's life, or imminently about to victimize. So that's the part that is the catch 22, that that tricky part. And so I just would like to hear from our representative senators and everyone who supports this. Why is this bill so important? We are already in the midst of racial tensions all over the world. And so it's like,
Right.
why is this bill important um, now or ever, and for the state of Arkansas?
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know why they're so hell bent on passing this bill. It actually is just an amendment um, to the self-defense bill that's already law. They basically just want to add the fact that you do not have to retreat.
Oh,
Even, yeah, even with, even when you have the opportunity to retreat, you do not have to retreat. So um, it's, there are, as I said, there are already adequate self-defense laws in Arkansas that will cover you if you are threatened in your home and even outside your home. So there are self-defense bills. I said the biggest thing about this one is it will not require anyone to retreat, even if they feel threatened. You don't have to actually be threatened. So my thing is, who determines if your feeling was justified? You know, if you shoot somebody and say I feared for my life, I felt threatened, who determines if that's justified? You
yes.
know, so and the state NAACP um, has written a nice letter that will be read tomorrow. We do have some folks here in Jonesboro that are going to the state capitol tomorrow
Okay.
uh, to testify and to you know, be there for the session. I said tomorrow, I guess it's tomorrow. Yeah. Um, but the in the NAACP will be there at the state level, and so the state has you know, composed a letter from the NAACP, and it will be read tomorrow as well. But we know that um, it leads to an increase in the number of gun deaths and injuries. They add to the financial toll of firearm violence in states that have passed them. Um, there was a RAND study that found that each gun homicide costs taxpayers an average of $688,600. Um,
Well,
and so families and communities bear a heavier burden enduring those losses in income and quality of life, exceeding 7 million per homicide. And this is some information in the letter from the NAACP at the national level. But I did want to read you something too, and I think we already knew all of this. Um, African American victims are 10 times more likely, 10 times more likely to be ruled justified than cases with a Black perpetrator and a white victim. And the gap is larger in states with stand your ground laws. So it goes like that without stand your ground. So if you have stand your ground, it's going to be higher than 10%. After accounting for a variety of factors, such as whether the victim and perpetrator were strangers, the gap is smaller, but still quite significant. Cases with a white perpetrator and an African American victim are 281% more likely to be ruled justified than cases with a white perpetrator and white victim. In states with stand your ground laws, the shooting of an African American person by a white person is found justifiable 17% of the time, while the shooting of a white person by a Black person is deemed justifiable just over 1% of the time. And this was a study that was done by the Urban Institute. And so we already know that it's one-sided, and we know that from watching TV um, and that's one reason that this Black Lives Matter movement started because white people were shooting black people and getting off because they said they fear for their life. So it's the color of someone's skin reason enough to fear for your life.
And
So yeah, I don't know, and I just don't understand why, uh, or as I say, our conservative representatives are so determined that this no retreat thing is so important.
and we have had previous conversations with our police chief, and we've heard statements from our sheriff of Craighead County, and they were both against this bill when it first came out. And I can't say where they stand on it now, but we have heard from other law enforcement personnel, not just in the state of Arkansas, but across the nation. They are not in favor of this because they work directly with the communities and
Right.
they see what's happening on the streets. They're the ones filing the reports. And so I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. So let's
Yeah,
see.
the last I heard, and I think it was a week or so ago, Quabila, our state law enforcement had not came out with a position one way or the other. So they are not actively against it as they were a couple of years ago. Um, and I don't know why. I suspect they are still against it, but they are not uh, organized against it as a group across the state. So,
Okay. So before we go to break, which we're about to get ready to go to break, I want to let everyone know how they can reach their lawmakers. To oppose the Stand Your Ground bill, text Arkansas to 64433. That's 64433, and text Arkansas to encourage your lawmakers to oppose the Stand Your Ground bill. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay. Almost hit that. Didn't hit that break just right. I
yeah,
gotta
I'm going
watch
to,
my time.
I'm going to, we have the names of 3 or 4 um, representatives um, that can possibly, that we feel may possibly vote no, Republican representatives. Um, and I can give those when we come back.
Okay. We have a few comments I want to read. Want to say good morning to Mrs. Clary Scales, Dr. Reverend Ray Scales, Miss S.L. Robinson. She says, good morning, all. Miss Yesenia says, this bill is written in a way that someone could get away with premeditated murder and later claim they did it because they feel threatened.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Miss Future Armstrong says, this is true. We are not equally acquitted nor tried in the court systems, not in Arkansas, but not in Arkansas only, but universally. And we've seen that there are too many cases. There were one that's been floating around on social media. 2 young men under 25 committed either the same or very similar crimes, different states, different sentences, um, and it was unfair. So we've seen other things where also, and I know people might say, why does color matter? Why is everything always about color? Well, because it kind of is. And so it's up
Yeah.
to us to
Because
highlight those.
other folk, it's because other folk make it about color. Yeah.
And
Other
so
folk make it about color.
it's up to us to speak up about these injustices. And this is where, part of the role of NAACP and other organizations that are set in place to advocate and speak up, and to help others navigate what's happening. Because if we weren't having this conversation, if others weren't having the conversation, this item would have got swept under the rug or passed through quietly,
Right.
and we wouldn't have known until it became enacted.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's true. Yeah.
so I just
Um,
want to encourage everyone, go to arcleg, ARKLEG.ar.us. Um, I put the link in the Facebook feed, but that website you can find all the Arkansas bills and things that are being discussed and what motion has been made and things of that nature. So please go do some research and learn about what's all happening in Arkansas so you can be a more informed resident.
right. Yeah. Yes, we won't even have time to get into those crazy education bills that are
Oh gosh, that's a whole other story.
that
Um,
are circling around. But yeah.
and people feel some type of way that one way or another. We have another coming from his future, but about to go on. We're about to go back on air, so I'll wait to read that one so I won't run out of time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have those. I hadn't been ignoring just trying to find those representatives on the committee.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kabila Jones, and my special guest is Mrs. Emma Agnew, the president of the Craighead County chapter of the NAACP. We've been having a little extended conversation off air on our Facebook Live. So if you want to go back and look at those, listen to those comments, and then read the comments in our Facebook Live feed, we have quite a few more that I want to get to here. But I want to address the ones that we talked about off air so those on air can hear. Ms. Yesenia Hernandez Lobo mentioned about the bill we were just talking about, SB 24, Senate Bill 24.
Yeah.
This bill is written in a way that someone could get away with premeditated murder and later claim they did it because they felt threatened.
Mm,
Mrs. Future Armstrong says, this is true. We are not equally acquitted nor tried in the court systems, not in Arkansas only, but universally. And
mm,
she also says, no retreat means protect yourself by any means necessary
mm,
until it is African Americans defending themselves from Caucasians, then the laws discriminate
mm,
against them, I guess. Ms. Yesenia says, appreciate y'all taking the time to explain the importance of this bill and why it should not pass. Ms. Future says, in essence, the law doesn't change anything because it would discriminate still in the judicial systems. And then we have a message from Mr. Derek Coleman, who says, good morning, ladies. I need all communities to have a meeting together to explain how this bill is very dangerous and that who our local state representatives that support this, such as, um, and he gives the list of names, Senator Dan Sullivan, Brent Smith, Jack Ladyman, and others that African Americans of Jonesboro who voted for those people.
mm,
The names who support the bill are listed on the bill. So
mm,
again, go to the website listed in the Facebook Live
mm,
feed. Click on that link; it takes you to the bill, and you can
mhm.
see all of the representatives and senators who support that bill.
Well, that's not all of them who support it. Those are the ones
Oh,
who sponsor it. So those
sponsor.
names
Oh,
there
okay.
are the ones who are sponsoring the bill. Ballinger is the leader, but the others have signed on as co-sponsors of the bill.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I did want to um, I have the names and contact information for 3 representatives. And if it's okay, I'm going to come back to it in about 5 minutes so you can have an opportunity to get you a pen, a pencil, because I'm going to give you their names and phone numbers. You need to text them. You need to send them a text because they're voting tomorrow. And so these are some senators that have been identified as moderates, I guess, who are flexible or have not decided that they will vote for Stand Your Ground. So we're trying to encourage them to vote no. But since the vote is tomorrow, I would not email. They may not see their emails tomorrow. I'm sure their email boxes are full as their texts are, but they can look at their phone. Their phone is something they're going to have with them at all times. So just
Mm-hmm.
send them a text. It doesn't have to be lengthy. If you have an anecdotal story about how this has affected you in some way, tell that. But otherwise, just encourage them to tell them to vote. Please vote no for the Stand Your Ground bill, and let them know why you think they should vote no.
Okay.
Okay, y'all got your pencils ready to take these phone numbers down because we need to get on this. We do not need this to pass. The first one is Stan Berry, Berry, and his phone number is 479-970-7982. 479-970-7982. And this information is came from Rebecca Evans, Moms Demand Action. They always do a great job, and we try to partner with them. We did a couple of years ago. But it also says that he is a veteran. And so if you happen to be a veteran or the spouse of a veteran or whatever, please use that when you refer to him.
Okay.
And the next one is Carol Dalby, Dalby, and her phone number is 870-772-1255. 870-772-1255. If you are a teacher, educator, school board member, mention that in your text to her. And the last one is Keith Slape, Slape, and his number is 870-715-5623. 870-715-5623.
Okay.
And Mr. Slape, okay, it doesn't give any notes about him. But,
Okay.
and also, if anybody knows, this is a note on here, if anybody knows Jimmy Gazaway, please contact him also.
Okay.
He's in Paragould. But if you have any personal connections with him, I don't think he's on this committee. If Rebecca is on, if she would explain that. But anyway, I don't think he's on this committee. I think he probably just has some pull that would be able to help us. So if anybody knows him, I'll go ahead and give his number out. But if you know him personally, please contact him. It's 870-215-1243. And if you know him personally, you might just try calling him. He may respond to your call. Otherwise, just text him as well.
And what's his name again?
Jimmy Gazaway. Gazaway.
Okay. So thank you, Mrs. Future. She put the names and numbers in the post, and I did as well. So
Thank
somebody
you,
should see the
Future.
numbers.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why I didn't think to do that, but
No, that's okay.
I told you I'm still asleep and drinking my coffee.
All right. So
Okay.
we got about 12 minutes in this segment. And so I want to make sure we have enough time to discuss the other issue that's
Yes.
happening on the local level. We need to also be very aware of what's
Yes.
happening in Craighead County.
Yes. 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 And there's so much going on, at the national level with the new president and then the riots at the Capitol and all of that, sometimes we forget there are serious state and local issues as well. But we did want to talk about by ward voting for these last few minutes. And there is a post on the Craighead County website page, Craighead County NAACP, I'm sorry, Facebook page. There's a flyer on there. So please go there later. Please like our page if you haven't done so already. But basically what is happening with by-ward voting, it had passed through committee and went to full council to have at least one of the two council seats in each ward be elected by ward only, meaning you ran only in your ward. The whole city could not vote for you, just the people who live in your ward. And so that was sent back to the committee for some changes, which I, like some other folk, was a little disturbed by that. But once I realized what's going on, not as much, not as much disturbed, because the Nominating and Rules Committee is meeting on February the 8th to amend it, to vote to amend it to a certain degree. And they will amend it from position 1 to position 2. And they are amending it from position 1 to position 2 because if it stays position 1, it'll be 2024 before it actually happens, because that's when position 1 runs again. But they want to change it to position 2. That way, in 2022, we will be electing a city council person by ward. So it would actually move it up a couple of years. And so what they're proposing, what they want to propose to do, what the council suggested, was to put it on the ballot for the community to vote on it. And it would be put on the ballot in the spring of this year. Next year, I'm sorry, spring of next year. And then of course, in November, in the fall, is when the positions would be up to vote. So that way people will have an opportunity to file to run in Ward 2 only. And so, by ward voting is something that the community has been fighting for, off and on, ever since I've been here pretty much, and I've been here about 20 years. But off and on, it's come up a few times. And this is the first time it's ever gotten this far. And so they're going to ask the community to vote on it, is what they're proposing at this point, rather than the city council making that decision. So that's where by-ward voting is at this point.
And I want to just say this to that. I've known two people that have ran for different positions at different times. And they didn't win because other people in other wards around the city didn't really know them as well as the people in their own neighborhood. So, well, actually, I've heard three people say this. And they felt that if it was by ward only, they would have won simply because they had a chance to communicate and network with those individuals, in that ward. And, unfortunately, that wasn't the way it was. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, so, and it's important for a number of reasons. Of course, at first, there was no Black representation on the council. Black person couldn't win a council seat citywide, but obviously that has changed. So we do have Black folk on the council. Of course, Renell Woods was on the council. He won the seat citywide, and David McLean and Dr. Coleman won seats citywide. But why that is important, it's really hard. And trust me, I know, it's really hard to run a citywide race. It's very expensive to try to run a citywide race. And so if you're running by ward, it's a lot easier. You have a lot less territory to cover, to attempt to cover. Generally, if you're running by ward, you know the people in that ward, you know, in the communities you live in. And so it's a lot simpler. It makes the race more competitive. You're on more equal footing with the other people in a by-ward race than those citywide. But also, the community itself has a better relationship with the person that represents the ward. And so that person representing that ward, his biggest concern is going to be making sure his ward is satisfied and have what they need, and are happy. Because if he doesn't, he's not going to be reelected. And so it gives the community, um, a foot up, a leg up, because they have better access. So we're asking people to send an email, and if you send it to Alderman, ALDERMEN, at jonesboro.org, it will go to everybody on the city council. And if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, I think the mayor gets a copy. But just send an email to Alderman at jonesboro.org, and ask them to vote in favor of by-ward voting.
Okay.
And so that's an idea whose time is long overdue. So we are looking at one seat by ward and one um, at large at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Derek Coleman says, Emma for City Council lady. I'll work hard for you and others.
Derek's still playing this same old tune.
He is determined to get you in the seat.
Yeah, I
But
appreciate it, Derek, but it's gonna take a lot more than you to get me in the seat. But anyway.
so again, we just want everyone to be more aware of what's happening. There are other items on the agenda. This is was the Rules and Nominating Committee. There are many committees
Nominating
under.
committee, yeah. Oh, yeah, and keep a watch on this jonesboro.org website, and look under government. You can find council meetings, the agenda, but get accustomed to looking at that regular. The council meets I think it's the first and third Tuesday of
Mhm.
each month. There are committee meetings, and I don't know when all of those meet, but you can find out when those meet. But make yourself aware of what's going on in city government. Um,
Yes.
so I would encourage you to do that, jonesboro.org, and just, periodically just look at that website. You can watch the city council meetings from your computer or Channel 24. They are not allowing the public to attend at this point, but you can watch the meetings and you can submit questions, through the chat or via phone call, I believe. So please, please, please do that as well. And we'll be back to talk about, I know y'all have heard about these crazy education bills that have been floating around. Uh, those, I don't know what's going on. Folk have lost their minds, but we're not talking about those today because they're not just right here, right now. So we wanted to cover today what's right here, right now. And also, do I have a couple of minutes, Kabila?
Yes. 2 minutes, 2.5.
Okay, I wanted to make a quick announcement that on February the 15th, at our general membership meeting, we're opening it up to the public. We're going to have a town hall meeting and a discussion on how we move forward post-Trump, what we need to be doing to make our city a better place to live, particularly for African Americans. And so we're going to be inviting you to that. The announcement will be on Facebook, and it's going to be a Zoom town hall, of course. And we're going to have a facilitator, a dynamic young woman from the University of Minnesota that's going to facilitate with us. And so we just want you to come and help us kind of determine what direction we as an NAACP should be looking to go during these times, which are, something we haven't seen before. Okay, I'm through.
All right. I'm putting information in the I'm operating multiple things here, so try to put the information here so people can go back and look and take notes
Mhm,
um, when they have time.
mhm.
So we want everyone to be involved in this discussion, and you know, I'm not gonna try to get too political, even though we've been talking about politics. There's been a lot of discussion, even within the Republican Party, about how to move forward.
Mhm,
Post the past administration. So this is not just as people like to say, a liberal thing.
mhm.
It's
Right.
it's not just a one party thing. It's an everybody thing. You know.
It's a humanity thing, yeah, people thing, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And it's not just an African American thing, I'll add. Hey, Legansy.
Hey, Ms. Agnew.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
not
so we're
just
about to go. We got
African
30
American.
seconds before break.
Oh, okay.
Again, did
Okay.
you want to say something before we go to break?
I ain't catching on the other side.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
All right. So again, you're tuning into Community Conversations. It is the first Monday with NAACP, with Craighead County NAACP. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll continue the conversation live on Facebook, so you can hop on. I put a lot of information in the Facebook live feed, so make sure to go and get those notes. Okay, so we're off air.
Yeah, I just
Um,
got back from the little service at NEA. It's actually pretty short. It's like 20 minutes. You can, after the conclusion of this interview, you can go back on KLK Facebook and watch it.
What was
okay.
it, Legansy?
It was a short, I guess, mini church service that was put on by NEA Baptist. They
Oh,
asked KLK to partner with it and stream this. So basically, at Scripture, Bishop Rogers and Dr. Coleman prayed. Um, Reverend Ota was there. The CEO of the hospital kind of gave some reflections,
Okay.
and that was pretty much it. Of course, to
yeah.
everybody
Okay.
on Facebook Live, go to JonesboroBlackBusiness.com. Check out the website. Over 270 Black businesses listed in any category that you think of. We are inside of Black History Month, so people always ask, "How can I support?" Well, this is a great way to support. All you gotta do is just go on there, look at the categories, and if you see a business that you are in need of services, contact them and patronize them. And of course, NAACP is
Yes.
listed on there.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And congratulations on going into Leadership Jonesboro
Oh, well,
again.
thank you, and happy belated birthday to you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it was great. I had a great birthday. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, everybody.
I'm definitely looking forward
Mhm.
to Leadership Jonesboro and the networking opportunities.
Right. Yeah. I think it'll be a good thing for KLEK, for you and
Well,
for
that's
KLEK.
what I'm always looking for new opportunities, new partnerships, new underwriters, new sponsors, new donors.
You all, so all of that. So we've been talking this morning, Legansy, about the stand your ground, of course, and byword voting. So that's been the conversation. I don't know if you were listening in or
Wasn't
not,
listening, but
but probably
I
not.
have been following on both of
Yeah.
those issues,
Yeah.
and of course,
So of course that's the confiscation. We just really need to stop this from happening. And tomorrow, I mean, this is one bill. I mean, it just frightens me. I'm just, I'll be very honest, it scares me.
well,
So
and it should be frightening because on one group that I follow, one of the running threads of commentary was, special people with special needs who could become victimized by
I
this.
saw that. Yeah.
That, you know, someone who may
15
not be in
seconds.
full. All right, we'll pick it back up.
I didn't think about
Mhm.
that aspect. That's something that needs to be discussed as well.
And we can when we come back.
All right, so hold on. You all will be right. We'll be back on air in a few seconds. All right, welcome back to the last segment of Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kawila Jones. My special guest today is Mrs. Emma Agnew, President of the Craighead County NAACP, and we are joined also by the station manager, Leganzi Kell, who's been out busy this morning. Thank you for joining us as well. And so this last segment, I'm going to let you all take it away and wrap up our discussion on the two items we discussed, SB 24 and by ward voting.
I'll just give a couple quick comments. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ms. Agnew. What I was just going to say, I've kind of mentioned this off there. One of the things that I don't think you've heard a lot of discussion on regarding Stand Your Ground is how this could potentially affect special needs people and people who suffer from depression and mental illness. So if you encounter someone who may not be in their right faculties or is experiencing a crisis, and this person, you know, gets killed because someone was afraid.
Oh, he froze. Oh no.
Yeah, he froze up again. Well, while he's frozen, I'll go ahead because I just wanted to encourage people to take action. It's time to take action. So you have the information, make those contacts, and do what you become engaged, become involved. Use your voice. This is your time, opportunity to use your voice. So I would encourage you to do that. And I think Leganzi is still frozen. Must be going through a spot or something.
Okay.
I just
extra Wi-Fi. We'll have a stronger connection.
Oh, okay. You have a car.
And Miss Linda Johnson Frazier also said, don't forget the deaf community as well. So
deaf community, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So those that are deaf, so anyone with any disability that affects their mobility, their movements, capacity to think.
I'm good. Give me a moment.
And I hate to use the word normal. I don't like that word, but people that are different than others,
right? Yeah.
That have been diagnosed with whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need to really take those individuals into account when it comes to this bill.
Okay, I think I got a better signal now. So, thing with the ward voting, you currently have a situation to where one representative is representing. I have the exact numbers, but it's like thousands of people. I mean, one city councilman on Jonesboro Council can represent as many people as some of the smaller towns' entire populations combined. I personally had always thought that, because I know that there are just some, some people that just would no way know how to just go for a complete ward-based voting system. But I always thought, and this was the position that I think LJ Bryant was for, the hybrid system, where you have half the seats at large and half the seats ward-based. If you think about it, that's how your typical legislature in Congress is set up. You got the House of Representatives that are represented by districts, and then you have the Senate, which, represents whole states. But again, no matter how strong you feel about this issue, of course, KLK, we don't tell you which way to vote or how you should support, but you definitely need to make your voice known. If anything that this past political cycle has taught us, you cannot sit on the sidelines. Right. Chief Elliott likes to say, policing is not a spectator sport, where politics isn't either. This is survival, y'all. This is the survival of your way of life on the line. Each and every election, and that's how you have to approach it, that your literal survival is on the line. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here because I got a volunteer in the station I need to work with. It's been a great conversation, Mrs. Agnew. As always, thank you for all the love and support that you give Daily K.
Thank you for having me. I enjoy coming. I enjoy being on. All
All
right, have
right.
a good day. Mhm.
All right. Well, we have one more couple comments. People with disabilities have been documented being victims of stand your ground, and they're developmentally challenged. So, yes, those individuals definitely need to be taken into account.
Right.
Everyone needs to be taken into account when it comes to this bill. So, and there's some other. I'm gonna have to read that one off air, Miss Linda. But thank you all for joining the community conversations. Have a great and we have 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay. Ms. Linda Johnson says, don't forget about Charles Kinsley, the gentleman that was shot in the leg for protecting an autistic man. And when he asked the police why you shot me, I believe they responded, I don't know. So yeah. There's so many cases out there. Do your research,
Yeah.
message your representatives, text Arkansas to 64423. No, make sure I got that right because I know me.
Mhm.
64433. Sorry, 64433. Text Arkansas and tell your lawmakers to oppose stand your ground.
Right.
Again, as a representative Kelly K, I can't tell you how to respond, but as a member of NAACP,
Uh,
please
yeah,
text your
but
lawmakers.
yeah, please do. And I've already told you what to say. So, but I do want to add now, when you text that number, it will ask you to put in your information and your zip code, and it will actually patch you through to your representative, where you will be able to leave a voicemail, I'm sure, or if an assistant answers, you can talk with the assistant. But this text will require you to open your mouth and say something. So I did want to let you know that before you try it, because it will patch you through to the representative who represents you. And that is not the 3 I gave you, so you need to do those 3 anyway. Those 3 are on the committee that's voting on Stand Your Ground tomorrow. Your representative is your representative, and he needs to know that you do not want Stand Your Ground in Arkansas. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining us this morning, as you do every first Monday of the month. And I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about next month as well.
Yeah,
But in the meantime, don't forget about the town hall via live
right.
February 15th. Make sure to check the Facebook pages of Kelly K and NAACP for more information. Thank you all. Have a great and blessed day.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ms. Emma. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.